Coming up, a new twist in the case of a Palm Springs teenager accused of killing his mother. The new details revealed by prosecutors.
And we're tracking some very warm, if not downright hot temperatures going into your Thanksgiving holiday. We're going to tell you how long this little heat wave lasts coming up.
First in the Coachella Valley, you're watching KMIR TV Palm Springs, where the news comes first. KMIR News starts now.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today here on this Wednesday. I'm Janet Zapala. First to 4:30. Well, a record-setting day here in our valley as a heat wave arrives right in time for the holiday. Our chief meteorologist, Mike Everett, in the KMIR News Weather Center with the numbers for us today. Mike.
That's right, Janice. And we are tracking temperatures that were hot not only here in Palm Springs, but all the way across Southern California today. Not just breaking records, I mean shattering them by 4 or 5 degrees in several spots today. Some of the highlights today: Burbank, 95 degrees, Riverside, 93, Los Angeles and LAX both hitting 92 today. And as we take a look a little bit further closer to home, what we're tracking here is also some temperatures that were hot in San Diego, 92 there, 76 in Idlewild, 71 in Big Bear today. And here today, we have tracked some temperatures that got into the mid, if not upper 90s. In fact, I haven't verified this number 100% yet, but we may have actually hit 96 today. 89 is our current temperature at the airport. Dew point sitting at 42, humidity sitting at 19%, and that barometric pressure is actually falling a little bit, which is a sign that we're going to cool off as we go towards the weekend. We're going to track those temperatures for your Thanksgiving Day holiday and your 7-day forecast coming up. Janet?
You called it right on the money. Thank you for that, Mike. Well, in the news, the big rig driver accused of falling asleep at the wheel in that deadly bus crash in Palm Springs last year was in court today. Our Vince Marino has the story.
51-year-old Bruce Guilford sat in handcuffs and looked pensive. His attorney telling the judge her client pleads not guilty. The brief hearing was the first since the deadly crash 13 months ago. Guilford's attorney reminded the judge that her client had no criminal record whatsoever and is a veteran, serving in both Desert Storm and Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Riverside County District Attorney's Office is bringing 42 counts, including 13 felony manslaughter charges. Legal documents supporting the arrest obtained by KMIR News say that Guilford fell asleep with the parking brake of the tractor and trailer set. The complaint also alleges that Guilford regularly violated maximum driving time. And in the 24 hours preceding the collision, Mr. Guilford had only 7 hours of sleep opportunity, but it is unlikely that he actually slept during those opportunities. In a separate finding, the National Transportation Safety Board found that both Guilford and the bus driver who died in the crash were sleep deprived. Guilford refutes the claims against him, his attorney saying the district attorney had no evidence to support them and said her client had only been driving for 2 hours that morning. Guilford remains jailed on a $500,000 bail. His next court appearance is set for December 5th. Vince Marino, KMIR News.
Well, a dramatic twist in court today as the teenager accused of killing his mother on Monday morning missed his first court appearance. Murder charges were filed against 19-year-old Brian Conroy. Police believe he shot his mother, Amber Lane, at their home on Calle, San Antonio. She was taken to the hospital but did not survive. Conroy was not able to make it to court for his arraignment because he remains in a hospital. Prosecutors also asked to raise his bail to $1 million, saying he told investigators that voices commanded him to kill his mother. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, of course, but some were feasting a bit early. Happened today, as a matter of fact. Prep for the Mission Outreach Project lunch began around 8 o'clock this morning. The meal has been in the works now for months as volunteers at the Mission Outreach Project have been gathering up pounds and pounds of food for today's feast, which fed about 500 people. By the time it was all over, they served 25 turkeys, more than 20 donated pies, 200 pounds of mashed potatoes, and 100 pounds of stuffing. And the day before Thanksgiving, of course, is always a very busy one, especially at the supermarket. We sent our Lauren Day out to find out how people are dealing with the long checkout lines. It's all about patience, right, Lauren?
That's right, Janet. People at Jensen's grocery store were surprisingly chipper today, despite the long lines. People had to take a ticket number to pick up their Thanksgiving turkey. The Palm Desert Jensen's location alone sold nearly 2,000 turkeys. One woman described today's grocery shopping experience to the 405 freeway during rush hour. I also asked a younger shopper how long it takes to cook a turkey. She told me 20 minutes. And then I asked her at what temperature. Her answer might surprise you.
8 degrees? 8 degrees. This is a quick turkey. This is what we call a quick turkey. Yeah, no.
You can have a raw turkey tomorrow.
Right. Thank goodness she's not cooking it.
Jensen sells turkeys ready to be cooked and all other Thanksgiving sides. So if you still have to do Thanksgiving shopping, you have some time to head to the grocery store. Coming up at 5, we'll hear from some people who do know how to cook a turkey about how important this holiday is. I'm Lauren Day.
So very important. Can't wait. Thank you for that, Lauren Day. The state of California now fighting a plan that could nearly triple the entrance fee to Joshua Tree National Park. Yeah, the state attorney general joining 9 other states sending a notice to the Park Service claiming the fee would limit access to more than a dozen parks because of those charges. Now, under the proposal, access fees would jump from $25 a week to $70 a week. Meantime, the Park Service has extended the public comment period on this proposal until December 22nd. Well, it is, in fact, delighting people all around for the holidays. In fact, it's been going on for years now, but not without controversy. I'm talking about Robo Lights. It is, in fact, making a comeback with another big display. Our Luz Delia Caballero joining us now with a live look. Luz Delia.
Hey, Janet. Well, things are just kicking off here on Grand Via Valmonte, where this house behind me turns into a real-life theme park for thousands of people every single year. And I did get a chance to talk to artist and creator Kenny Irwin, who tells me they're expecting a little over 150 people to walk through this house and enjoy the light displays, thousands, hundreds of thousands of lights, various robotic sculptures, which is where Robo Lights actually gets its name. And of course, his new creation, which is a Ferris wheel that's made out of dragons. And of course, I did get a chance to talk to him, and I asked him what's the best part about all of this, and he told me it's the cheers and the laughter that he hears as people walk in and out of the doors. And he also tells me that art isn't just a passion for him.
You know how cats are born to meow? Well, I was born to do art. That's pretty much what I do, as cats are born to meow. It didn't choose me, I chose it, but I love it. So that's kind of how that works. So I've been making art my entire life in one form or another. But the annual art and light display that is Robo Lights is, one, variant of how I showcase my work.
But putting this on for the 31st year in a row, because he started this first display when he was 12, wasn't easy. And I'm not just talking about the time it takes to set everything up. Kenny just reached a settlement in a year-old lawsuit with the city of Palm Springs about how Robo Lights was put on. The city was concerned about traffic and parking issues, trash and safety, but Kenny agreed to cover the cost to manage traffic and pick up trash. And of course, I talked to Kenny about the whole setup process. And as I mentioned before, it isn't easy. In fact, he starts setting up for this huge Robo Light display in September, which means people that come from near and far, of course, get to enjoy this light display that takes months to put together. And he also told me that today is opening night, but it will be open every day from about 4 to 9 p.m. until January 8th for everyone to enjoy. Live in Palm Springs, Luz Delia Caballero, KMIR News.
All right, Luz Delia, thank you for that. And speaking of lights, you can also enjoy some festive lights at the Palm Springs Festival of Lights Parade, the annual event, always a huge hit. Just a couple of weeks away now on December 2nd. That's Saturday, beginning at 5:30 at night. The route runs down Palm Canyon from Ramon to Chichiva in downtown Palm Springs. And if you can't make it out there, hopefully you can. But if you can't, well, you can watch the broadcast live right here on KMIR. Our coverage begins at 6. Gino, myself, and Mike Everett, a lot of our KMIR News staff will be out there as well joining that parade, and we hope to see you. While the holidays are, of course, a festive time of year for most, Thanksgiving is a much more somber occasion for one desert family. Still ahead today, see how the holiday is a reminder of how one man made the ultimate sacrifice while helping someone in need. Well, if the name Mark Thomas Taylor seems familiar, that's because you've probably seen it on the 10 freeway. The Date Palm overcrossing was renamed in his honor several years ago. In fact, this Thanksgiving marks the 30th anniversary of his death. Our Kitty Alvarado spoke with his family and co-workers about his life as a law enforcement officer and family man. Kitty.
CHP Officer Taylor was just 28 years old when he was killed in the line of duty. But in that short time, he left an indelible mark. This story is not just a tribute to him, but also to those he left behind who carried on with courage and looked out for those he loved when he no longer could. This Thanksgiving, they're thankful they have each other.
No, we didn't have Thanksgiving for many years after that. It took a long time before we could find something that we could feel thankful about.
On Thanksgiving Day in 1987, Brenda Taylor got the visit every officer's wife dreads. The captain of the CHP office in Indio didn't have to speak a word.
Please tell me that he's okay. And they shook their head no.
Her husband, 28-year-old Mark Thomas Taylor, was killed by an elderly distracted driver. As he was standing on the side of the 10 freeway next to a driver he had pulled over for a traffic violation.
I walked in the house, went into my bedroom, I dropped on my knees, and I just said, God, you're going to have to help me. And at the same time, I heard my daughter screaming.
At a reunion at the CHP office in Indio, retired CHP Sergeant Dennis Johnson says he remembers that day like it was yesterday.
We were traveling to Redlands to have Thanksgiving dinner, and we actually passed the scene, and then it looked pretty bad, so I immediately turned around as soon as I could. Very traumatic incident.
I never knew that, Dennis. I didn't know that you came upon the accident.
Brenda, now a widow and single mother, says their family was thousands of miles away in Michigan, but the CHP officers and their families became theirs. Half of the force accompanied Officer Taylor on his final trip home.
Who does that? They went home, and they not only were here for me at this funeral, they went home and they laid him to rest in his home.
During the reunion, they also shared memories that made them laugh. One of Mark's best qualities was his sense of humor, and on the graveyard shift, that spells comedy.
We had a dead coyote, and we put out a call of a suicidal subject on the Date Palm overcrossing. We just kind of put the coyote over the side there, and one of the units, they came screaming in, put up the spotlight, and the coyote's up there, and Mark flipped the coyote off onto the freeway.
But he also took some good pranks of his own, like the time his mentor wrote up a complaint and put it in his mailbox.
Is this true? Am I in trouble? And it's like, well, Mark, your days as patrol are gone. And it was like, we got you, didn't we?
But I'm sure he got you back, right?
Oh, yeah.
And his impact is still felt.
My daughter being named Marky, I thought of him on a daily basis. And then professionally, he impacted me as well.
Mark Taylor accomplished a lot despite having a tough childhood. He was the first to graduate high school in his family, served his country, and became a CHP officer.
But I know that his greatest joy was his daughter.
So, I may not have had my dad there growing up, and that was sort of a hole that I've spent my life trying to fill. But I do know unconditional love because of him.
This Thanksgiving, they're thankful for the man Mark was in their lives and the heroes who stood in for him when he no longer could.
I'm just grateful for everything you did.
You made a difference in my life.
And that even after 30 years, they remember him too.
Every Thanksgiving we think about him, we say a little prayer for Mark at our table, because that's one of those days that he'll never forget.
Thanks for joining us on this Thanksgiving Eve. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett. Today was a record breaker all the way across Southern California. We talked about some of those temperatures across Southern California. This just in, we hit 96 today. We shattered the record here locally. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, let's talk about what's going on across the country. A lot of folks with those last-minute travels going on. Still seeing some delays up in the northwest. This storm is the one that just keeps right on giving. That atmospheric river that we were tracking yesterday still continuing to move in literally from Oregon all the way up to Vancouver, and that is creating some travel delays in the form of rain and snow. We've backed off a little bit in the northeast. We were talking about this system that passed through Boston and New York a little bit earlier today. A quick hitter, some light snow still on the ground there, so there'll be moderate travel delays there. And then as we look down towards the southeast, well, Florida's just a mess right now. Luckily, it's just rain and not snow, but there will be some travel delays there as well. Remember, Atlanta is a major hub, so keep your eye out there as well. Temperatures across the country, well, not so bad on the western half, but we are cool as we head towards the east. 42 in New York, should be in the upper 30s for the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. You can see that right here on KMIR tomorrow. Big news, 96 is where we topped out today. The old record was 93, so yeah, we didn't just break it, we really broke it. 74 is normal for this time of year. Yeah, we weren't anywhere near that overnight as well. 62 last night, 49 is what's normal. Current temperatures, what we got outside right now, are tracking some temperatures that are in the 80s for most of us. And out towards the coast, well, we'll cool off nicely overnight. 59 in San Diego, 61 in LA, 64 in Palm Springs, and some 60s a little bit further east. Here's your Thanksgiving Day forecast. We'll be 84 down towards the south, 90 in Thermal, lots of 90s in Palm Desert, Coachella, La Quinta, 87 in Desert Hot Springs, and warm up high once again, 74 on top of the Tram, 66 at Big Bear. No Thanksgiving skiing there this year. 85 and 29 Palms, and 82 in the Morongo Valley. We're going to be hot again on Thanksgiving Day. 92 is what I'm calling it. That will once again be in record territory. The great news is we start to back off a little bit as we go into the weekend. Temperatures back into the 80s, and then starting on Monday, we will get a little bit closer to normal, getting into the upper 70s and lower 80s.
It's all looking good. Thank you so much, Mike. Still much more news ahead on this Wednesday. Gino Lamont joining us here in studio. He has a preview.
Well, coming up tonight, 5 o'clock, Thanksgiving is about more than just a big dinner, a parade, and football games. Tonight, we're going to show you how it also is a time to reflect on Native American heritage. Plus, as you can see from this live look at the KMIR Chopper Cam, it's a busy day on the roads, and it's going to get busier. All that and more coming up tonight on the KMIR News at 5.
Here's a look now at our top national stories at 4:30. The search continues for 3 people who disappeared when a U.S. Navy plane went down in the sea south of Japan today. The Navy says the C-2A transport plane was flying to the aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan when it crashed during a routine transport flight. A U.S. Navy Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron rescued 8 of the 11 people on board. All of them are said to be in good condition today. The C-2A, known as the Greyhound, is a propeller plane that carries personnel, mail, and other cargo from mainland bases to carriers out at sea. Well, people gathering today in Dallas to commemorate the 54th anniversary of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. There was a moment of silence at Dealey Plaza, which is where Kennedy was shot on November 22nd, 1963. A sign placed at the speaker's table read, "Justice for JFK, time for the truth." And the federal government, as you know, recently released thousands of previously classified documents from its files on that assassination. Well, coming up, what a dad won't do for his young daughter. In this case, it's what he did do that's creating all the buzz. That story is next. Performance, as you might guess, is racking up thousands of views on social media because look at him there. I mean, he can rock a tutu. He's a viral star, but really, he's a shoo-in for Father of the Year, and that's what really matters. And that does it for the news. First at 4:30, the news at 5 begins right now.
A new twist in the case of a Palm Springs teen accused of killing his own mother. Details were revealed to us by prosecutors. And here's a live look at your pre-Thanksgiving traffic. Flowing fairly smoothly now, but we are expecting the roads to continue to get busier as the day wears on.
And we're expecting those roads to stay warm as well. We are tracking a heat wave across Southern California where records were broken, including right here in Palm Springs. I'll tell you how hot it got and how long it lasts coming up.
First in the Coachella Valley, you're watching KMIR TV Palm Springs, where the news comes first. KMIR News starts now.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us here on this Wednesday night at 5. I'm Janet Zapala.
And I'm Gino Lamont. First on KMIR tonight, a big rig driver accused of falling asleep at the wheel in the deadly bus crash that killed 13 people in Palm Springs last year has pled not guilty. KMIR's Vince Marino has more.
51-year-old Bruce Guilford sat in handcuffs and looked pensive. His attorney telling the judge her client pleads not guilty. The brief hearing was the first since the deadly crash 13 months ago. Guilford's attorney reminded the judge that her client had no criminal record whatsoever and is a veteran, serving in both Desert Storm and Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Riverside County District Attorney's Office is bringing 42 counts, including 13 felony manslaughter charges. Legal documents supporting the arrest obtained by KMIR News say that Guilford fell asleep with the parking brake of the tractor and trailer set. The complaint also alleges that Guilford regularly violated maximum driving time. And in the 24 hours preceding the collision, Mr. Guilford had only 7 hours of sleep opportunity, but it is unlikely that he actually slept during those opportunities. In a separate finding, the National Transportation Safety Board found that both Guilford and the bus driver who died in the crash were sleep deprived. Guilford refutes the claims against him, his attorney saying the district attorney had no evidence to support them and said her client had only been driving for 2 hours that morning. Guilford remains jailed on a $500,000 bail. His next court appearance is set for December 5th. Vince Marino, KMIR News.
A dramatic twist in court today as the teen accused of killing his own mother on Monday morning misses his first court appearance. Now, murder charges were filed against 19-year-old Brian Conroy. Police tell us that he shot his mother, Amber Lane, at their home on Calle San Antonio. She was taken to the hospital but did not survive. Conroy was not able to make it to court for an arraignment today because he is hospitalized. Prosecutors say they've raised his bail to $1 million, saying he told investigators that voices commanded him to kill his mother.
Of course, we know Thanksgiving is tomorrow, but for some, well, the feasting began a bit early. In fact, it began today. Prep for the Mission Outreach Project lunch began at about 8 o'clock this morning. The meal has been in the works now for months as volunteers at the Mission Outreach Project have been gathering up a ton of food for today's feast, which fed about 500 people. By the time it was over, they served 25 turkeys. They donated more than 20 pies, 200 pounds of mashed potatoes, and 100 pounds of stuffing. Other organizations are also planning their own Thanksgiving dinners for tomorrow. The Salvation Army getting all set to serve up hot meals to about 250 people tomorrow at their building on Landau Boulevard in Cathedral City. They're preparing the food, they're serving it, and then cleaning up afterwards. And of course, that's going to take a lot of work, and that's why they're still looking for volunteers to help.
For Thanksgiving, they can help by volunteering their time to help serve a meal, or even from 1 to 2 after we serve the meal, if they want to help clean up, that would be wonderful too.
Salvation Army right now looking for drivers to help deliver food beginning at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, along with a cleanup crew to start volunteering at about noon. And of course, many people are now heading home for the upcoming Thanksgiving weekend, and we have a live look. You can take a look right there. Traffic moving pretty well, but you have to imagine that it's going to get a lot heavier as time goes on tonight and tomorrow, early tomorrow.
Chipper today despite the long lines. People had to take a ticket number to pick up their Thanksgiving turkey.
At Jensen's, the Thanksgiving Eve is one of the busiest days.
This is the 405 freeway on steroids. Yeah.
I'll meet you right over here, okay?
Anything you want, from 12 to 13 pound hens to 30-pound toms.
They do sell a lot of turkeys.
Yeah, about 2,000. Just for this location? Yeah, just for the Palm Desert store.
And Connie Lewis is the face of Thanksgiving shoppers.
You order an oven ready. Oven ready, mistake.
Oven ready, yeah. I have to cook it when I get home, but I don't have to do anything to it except open the oven door and throw it in there. There it is, all ready to go. Poor little guy's days have ended.
And you won't
Case in point, some of the more notable ones today. Burbank hitting 95 today, San Diego 92, Idlewild 93, and LA and LAX hit 92 degrees today. And taking a look over here, San Diego 92, Idlewild, yeah, we did it here as well. Now check this out, 72 degrees, the old record set by about 5 degrees today. And speaking of records, yeah, we did it here as well. That's why it felt like summer out there. 74 is what's normal. Set in 62 is our overnight. 49 is our normal. Well, 96 degrees. That's why it felt like summer out there. 74 is what's normal. Current conditions. 62 is our overnight. It's still 80. Sun is on its way down. Dew point sitting at 43. Humidity at 23% together. Barometric pressure is starting to settle down. And that means we will cool off going into the weekend. But it's going to be hot on Thanksgiving. We'll track that together. We'll take a look at the weekend forecast. And when it gets back to
for the past couple of years. But Robo Lights is back with another big display.
People
around the holidays live in Palm Springs with the latest on that. Past couple of years, but Robo Lights is back with another big display. KMIR's Luz Delia Caballero joins us live in Palm Springs with the latest on that. Luz Delia.
Here, perfect day to come and enjoy Robo Lights. And as you mentioned first before, and foremost, is it very challenging. It is in the 80s, but it's absolutely this year. That's because perfect day to come and enjoy Robo Lights. And as you mentioned Palm Springs, and it's very challenging to get Robo Lights on this year. That was because a week ago, just in time for him to open up his Robo Lights Palm Springs and artist that was settled because he did agree to that was settled clean up some trash and just in time for him to open up his Robo Lights display. And of course, that was settled because he did agree to clean up some trash and pay for that, as well as traffic control that the city was very concerned about. And in terms of safety, he also fixed a couple of things to make sure that things were safe here for people to walk on through. But of course, it's one thing to show you and what's one thing to tell you about all of these great things, and it's another thing to show you. So come on back with us. Of course, it is kind of a mixture of Christmas and robotic displays. Of course, artist Kenny Irwin told me that Robo Lights got its name because he loves sculptures and he loves robots. So a lot of these sculptures that you're going to see here are a mixture between a robotic theme and of course Christmas, lots of holidays and lots of randomness. So keep walking with me here and we'll find the winter wonderland that many of you might be looking for at this Christmas time. But of course, again, a lot of random activity. And I got a chance to talk to Kenny Irwin, the artist and creator, who tells me that art isn't just a passion for him.
You know how cats are born to meow? Well, I was born to do art. That's pretty much what I do, as cats are born to meow. It didn't choose me, I chose it, but I love it. So that's kind of how that works. So I've been making art my entire life in one form or another. But the annual art and light display that is Robo Lights is, one, variant of how I showcase my work.
And Kenny tells me that he starts setting up for Robo Lights as early as September because he says he needs to set up lights and sculptures throughout his 2-acre property. One thing that he wants everyone to look forward to this year is his Dragon Ferris wheel, which we will show you at 6 p.m. But as of now, I want you to know that today was opening night for Robo Lights, and it will be open every day up until January 8th from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Live in Palm Springs, Luz Delia Caballero, KMIR News.
Thank you for that tour, Luz Delia. And really tis the season because you can also enjoy some festive lights at the upcoming Palm Springs Festival of Lights Parade. It's the annual event and it's always huge, gets bigger every year. Just a couple of weeks away now on Saturday, December 2nd, beginning at 5:30. Now the route runs down Palm Canyon from Ramon to Chiva in downtown Palm Springs there. And if you can't come out that night, no worries. You can enjoy our live broadcast of that parade right here on KMIR beginning at 6. Are you all ready?
Yes, very excited.
A commentator that evening?
Yes.
All right.
I'm going to put on my best Bob Eubanks and be right down there for that.
There you go.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Thanksgiving is about more than just, turkey and parades and football games.
It's also a time to reflect on Native American heritage. That and more as we continue.
November is National Native American Heritage Month, a time to celebrate the contributions and stories of the Native people.
Yeah, our Kitty Alvarado actually met with a Native American documentary filmmaker who explored his roots through song.
Many of us have heard the beautiful gourd rattles and deep rhythmic songs of the Native people who live in the Southwest. It's called bird singing, a tradition that goes back thousands of years.
We circled the world 3 times, whether it be the career world or the world as we know it. We brought back stories. Those stories are the songs.
Albert Chacon and his wife Larissa made a documentary about this important tradition.
In the past, song migrations took people all over the area. Today, the people still continue to follow the same path.
As it turns out, Albert has direct connections to many local tribes. Still, not being raised in the culture, he says there's a lot he missed out on.
I didn't even know bird existed. I came out here following the powwows and trying to figure out where we came from.
As it turns out, Albert has direct connections to many local tribes. Still, not being raised in the culture, he says there's a lot he missed out on.
But the lesson, too, to show the outside world what can happen when you don't know your culture. I don't know my language. I don't know my songs.
Bird singing and the protocols are closely guarded by the elders and passed on, the only way to preserve their history.
Because you can only learn so much from school and the books, to where the songs, they were actually there. It was in the time and in the place and the moment.
We're still here. We're still here representing our ancestors, what they taught us.
And they teach us a lot, that's for sure. Well, contrary to popular belief, air travel doesn't have to be an unpleasant experience during the holidays.
Yes, all evidence to the contrary. We're going to show you how some stranded travelers, there's the unpleasantness, was less unpleasant. Mike?
High pressure. When it's straight above you, it heats the atmosphere and clears the skies. Case in point, it was hot. It was clear today. It's going to be hot and clear again tomorrow. Find out how long it lasts when we come back.
Coming up tonight, a guilty plea from the former doctor for USA Gymnastics admitting to sexually abusing young athletes. And all you need to know about travel conditions and weather as Americans hit the road when we see you for NBC Nightly News.
Welcome back. We have a big event tomorrow morning on El Paseo, the Martha's Village Thanksgiving Day 5K, which is about 3 miles for you non-Canadians. I will MC the event, which benefits Martha's Village, which provides meals and life assistance to Coachella Valley residents. Starts tomorrow at 8 a.m. and you still have time to register online at KMIR.com, and no need to wear any kind of warm-up gear. It will already be nice and warm for you. Join me over on the weather wall. We're going to take a look at what's happening here. Water vapor imagery showing exactly what we were talking about going into the break. Everything you see here in dark, that's high pressure. Is directly above us right now. So what it's done is it's taken all that cloud cover we had last week, pushed that up to the northwest in the form of rain. But what you see here in the last frames is it is starting to settle down a little bit. That means temperatures will cool this weekend and we will see a return of the clouds, just not intensely so. Temperatures, well, they're still warm all the way out to the coast as well. This time yesterday we were tracking 50s and 60s along the coast. It's still 80 in Oceanside, 75 in Santa Ana, 78 in Santa Barbara where they broke records today, still 78 in San Diego as well. 78, a very popular number. We're seeing that in Palm Springs and Cathedral City, 76 in Desert Hot Springs, and still tracking some 80s in Thousand Palms and Indio. La Quinta and Coachella have already checked out for the weekend, 72 and 29 Palms and 80 in Cabazon. 61 in LA right now, 65 at the airport, 60 in San Diego. That's going to be our overnight lows tonight, 59 in Lake Havasu City and 60 in Yuma. Here's how Thanksgiving's shaping up. We're tracking some temperatures that will be in the mid to upper 80s, if not a few 90s here and there. Yeah, it's going to be another warm one, so you might want to do turkey by the pool. 91 in Palm Springs, 87 in Desert Hot Springs, 90 in Rancho Mirage, and even up high, we're tracking some warm stuff. 75 on top of the Tram and in Idlewild, where we broke records today. 66 at Big Bear. No skiing there this year. 85 and 29 Palms, 83 at Joshua Tree, 80 in Yucca Valley and in Morongo Valley. Here's how it shapes up through the weekend here. We stay hot through Friday, and then finally as we go towards the weekend, we'll start to dial it back a little bit. And then as we get to Monday, temperatures will finally start to regulate a little bit, and we'll pull that back into the upper 70s and lower 80s as we go into next week. So if you like it hot, we got that covered. And if you like it normal, well, we'll get there eventually.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, if you run into travel delays, you can either get mad or make the most of it. Either way, you're going to get delayed. And that's why a group of Canadians busted out singing and dancing, and as Canadians are wont to do. The festive scene unfolded in Toronto at the international airport there. Musicians from Newfoundland entertained the passengers with guitar and an accordion, and darn it, who doesn't love some good accordion music now and again? At one point, the plane was about to board, but when an additional 30-minute delay was announced, no problem. They did more accordion songs.
That's one way to pass the time.
That and a
Get
really large Labatt's will get it done. Still ahead, the amazing way dogs can make hospital patients feel better.
Yeah, we'll show you all that and more next in Your Health Matters.
Your Health Matters is presented by Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market in Rancho Mirage. Live better. We can help.
Pets and our well-being. Medical science seems to be concluding that pets can be good for our health, and there's no better place for some TLC than in a hospital setting, and that's where Paws and Hearts comes in.
You remember Maddie from last week, okay.
This is about lifting spirits.
I think this is wonderful to have a dog that can, kind of be there with you.
A simple concept that makes a huge difference in people's lives when they need it the most.
My sweetheart.
Pet companionship.
It's a good feeling.
Meet Maddie. She may look like an ordinary dog, but she's actually a canine ambassador on the job at Desert Regional Medical Center in Palm Springs, helping patients to forget where they are for a while.
You lay here and wait and get bored and whatever, but this really pumps me up.
The patients say to you, "You made my day. Leave the dog here and come back at 5 o'clock."
Richard Waxman founded Paws and Hearts 17 years ago. His first stop was a nursing home in Indio. He says he saw a need and filled it.
Hey, sweetheart.
This is Maddie.
Studies have shown that pets can help lower blood pressure and bring a sense of calm. That, Waxman says, is what motivates him, the chance to help others feel better.
When we come here, we visit 40, 50 rooms twice a week in a 2-hour period. The folks they light up.
There's just a calming effect, and if your patient's calm, then they aren't wasting energy that they need to heal.
Pet visitations like this can serve as an important tool.
Hi, girl.
For helping patients in their recovery.
They definitely have a warm feeling, and it makes a lot of difference in their outlook.
She's sweet, yeah.
She is so sweet and so calm.
She knows what she's doing.
What she's doing is bringing the loving attention.
It's all about the love.
And affection that, as the Paws and Hearts saying goes, only a four-legged healer can provide.
Give a big smile.
Gotta love that face, right? Paws and Hearts began 17 years ago, still going strong today. The nonprofit has about 35 volunteers, and the dogs, like Maddie, are temperament tested and trained. In addition to hospitals, they also visit cancer and senior centers and Alzheimer's facilities, providing much needed and much appreciated canine therapy. If you have a story you'd like me to do, please email me at health@kmir.com, because your health matters.
Well, coming up next, one more look at today's top stories.
A recap now of our top story at 5 on this Wednesday night. A dramatic twist in court today as the teenager accused of killing his mother on Monday morning missed his first court appearance. Murder charges were filed against 19-year-old Brian Conroy. Police believe he shot his mother, Amber Lane, at their home on Calle San Antonio. She was taken to a hospital but did not survive. Conroy was not able to make it in court for his arraignment because he remains in a hospital. Prosecutors also asked to raise his bail to $1 million, saying he told investigators that voices commanded him to kill his mother.
And one last look at our forecast before we go here. It's going to be warm again on Thanksgiving Day. If you want to join us on El Paseo for our turkey trot, it's going to be in the upper 60s, lower 70s at about 8 o'clock in the morning. But then it gets into the 80s by 10 a.m. tomorrow. So turkey by the pool, definitely the call.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like a very good idea.
We'll get it back to normal.
Work with it. You got to work with it.
It could be an ice storm. That's all I'm saying.
See, how nice would that be?
Could always be.
Ice storm would be
Not
great.
at all.
See you at 11. 6.
Yes, there you go.